What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Kory Willis. Hope everyone out there is doing well on a Friday. Hope you guys have gotten everything together during the work week and getting ready to watch some college football with your friends and family, or maybe yourselves out there. Crack open the cold one and grab the food and just chill out and watch some games this week. So overall, guys, I hope you all are doing well out there on a Friday. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening in to the show. You know where to find us. We're on many different streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It's definitely important for us. It helps us know what we're doing and how we can improve the show for the future for you guys. And we're also on TikTok as well. You can also chime in on the many different episodes and clips from our episodes that we have for you guys. So feel free to engage with that as well, everyone. So we appreciate you guys' support as always with the show. As always, guys, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. You know who he is. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on, Kory? Nothing much, man. Feeling good, feeling better than a lot of LSU fans feeling at the moment. So, hey, everything is good this way.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I'm feeling good too. Maybe not the people down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As we're recording this on a Thursday evening, Chris, I know the good folks out there that are listening to this show are going to be listening to it this Friday. So, folks, if you're not sure what we're discussing, or if you've been hiding under a rock for the last 24 hours, I should say, news a couple hours ago had broke that top quarterback, the number one recruit in the nation, Bryce Underwood, has flipped his commitment from the LSU Tigers to the Michigan Wolverines. Yes, folks, he is now going to be a Wolverine up there in Ann Arbor. So this came to a surprise to many, especially the people down there in Baton Rouge. So, Chris, out of all of the recruiting craziness that I've seen in my lifetime, look, we've lived through, the Cam Newtons. We've lived through so many different crazy recruiting battles in just like the state of Mississippi, of course. But out of all of the news stories that follow college football recruiting, this has to be one of the most wildest recruiting flips that I've seen in quite some time, Chris, where the number one recruit of the 2025 class just decides, you know what, I don't want to play at a prestigious program like LSU. I just stay home and go to Michigan because that's where I'm from. What are your thoughts about this, Chris?
It ain't because that's where he's from.
No, you're right. You're right. It's a lot more to that.
It's 10 million more reasons to stay in the state of Michigan. Man, this is insane. Just pandemonium. Bryce Underwood, an elite talent at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. Someone that recently affirmed his commitment to LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, not even 2 weeks ago, I think, Kory. He was still Tiger down, but made a post and everything, talking about how down he is to be at LSU, and boom, it comes to flip. the video dropped too.
Yes.
Posting the video, the commitment, the video went hard too. Just great editing. The picking out Kanye "Homecoming" as the background song. I mean, it was just so well put together. You know, tip of the hat to whoever put the video together. But
This man, Bryce Underwood, made me want to go listen to the Graduation album right after this podcast.
hey, he made me want to commit to Michigan. He had the childhood clip of him saying he's going to play for the Wolverines and everything. I said, hold on now. But this is huge, unprecedented, like you said. But this is welcome to the NIL era.
Yeah.
Of high school football recruiting.
Yeah.
We've seen crazy stuff happen in the portal, but now we don't get drew first blood for some crazy stuff that happened with the high school kid, the number one player in the class, Kory, all of a sudden out the blue. I mean, people gonna be sitting here and they might say, we saw this coming," but like, he really did just turn down the bread.
Yeah.
But he really didn't. Here we are. So this is insane. It's going to really be the Wild Wild West, because we're going to see teams really pony up now. I think this is really going to set the tone for pony up. No pun intended with the words that Mark Stoops said and how that's played out in Kentucky. But people really are the NIL collectives. You're gonna have to come with it, because or else you could very well lose your prized gem. This was the gem of the recruiting class, and even though a school like LSU, who recruits as well as they do, you cannot replace a Bryce Underwood. You don't normally bring in multiple quarterbacks in the recruiting class. You have no need to bring in another quarterback when you have Bryce Underwood committed to you. So to lose him, oh boy, this is big, even for LSU.
Yeah, this is major, Chris. And yeah, no, you're right. You know, teams usually don't bring in multiple 4 and 5 star high school quarterback recruits. You know, if they're very focused and locked in on playing one of them. You know, that just doesn't really happen like that. So. Yeah, this is a big loss for LSU, Chris, because we were talking about it on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That this was a big loss. If they couldn't keep Bryce Underwood in the boat, they needed to keep him, and they were dependent on this guy to be there. And now that he's gone, this has become. It's created a lot of questions for this LSU football team. It's created a lot of questions for Brian Kelly's job. I mean, on the show we don't always advocate for someone to get fired, but this was I have to say it, like, a lot was riding on Brian Kelly's longevity at LSU when it came down to Bryce Underwood's commitment at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's not there anymore, I'm assuming that this is going to stick. Some people out there thinking otherwise, but I just have to say, keep dreaming. This is a big loss, and now LSU has to scrap and scramble, Chris, on trying to figure out who's going to be the next guy up, who's going to be QB1 down there in Baton Rouge. So I don't know what to say about LSU at this point now. Like, they need to make a lot of ground up in this whole SEC race with Texas and Oklahoma in there, and it just seems like that's starting to kind of wane on them. It seems like they're in the back seat looking at everyone else in the front, get the presents.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. This is this last thing you want to see happen if you're an LSU fan. I mean, 5 stars. There's like 30 of them in this class, I think, Kory, and most recruiting websites, like 25 to 30. 5 stars. And then when you talk about the quarterback position and also the number being ranked as number one player in your class, and to miss out on that guy, it is the sky is falling. There's no exaggeration when we say this. Like, this is devastating. It can be program changing. Like, let's think about the impact that quarterbacks have had on these championship winning teams. A guy like Cam Newton took an Auburn team that was probably a 7-win team without him, maybe 8-win team, to a national champion. You got a guy like Tua, and then what he ended up being for Alabama and how he, kept things rolling for them. I mean, you look at most of these teams, you have a marquee 5-star, at least 4-star quarterback leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
And for a team like LSU that we know recruits skill position players as well as anybody in the nation, if you were able to get that 5-star guy in there, he could very well have been the piece to really the straw that stirs the drink and really put LSU over the top, over a Georgia, over an Alabama, over a Texas. If you really are missing out on getting him, if you can't get him back, hey, Brian Kelly, it might be time to start getting them bags ready, get that luggage ready. They might not get rid of you this whole season, but buddy, if you don't get it together next year after missing out on Bryce, and don't let Michigan have a great year either with them. Oh my goodness!
Can you imagine that happens? Sharon Moore coming in just like, yeah, have fun at the big house, win it.
They getting you up out of there expeditiously. So this is tough, Kory.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're definitely right, Chris. This is rough. I've never seen anything happen like this, and especially to a team like LSU, a prestigious program that you wouldn't think would have issues with finding good talent and keeping good talent. This is a major blow. A guy with his caliber in Underwood, decide not to play in the SEC and, opting to play ball in the Big Ten, which, is has solidified as like the second best conference in college football. Man, it's a shocker. And like you said, Chris, they got to figure it out because, the more time that you waste time on sulking over this, you can really, have your team go off the rails. So, what you really want to be remembered for at the end of the day, if you're Brian Kelly and that coaching staff. So, you gotta still recruit because everyone else is out there doing that as well. So yeah, man, it's crazy.
Right. You are right. So they got to get on it ASAP. So we'll see how things play out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, hey Brian Kelly, go hey, get in the van, get in the plane, go out there and recruit. Go out there and recruit. So yeah, we'll definitely talk more about recruiting, Chris. As we got like 2 weeks before the early signing period and everything. So this is the time that we're definitely delving deep into recruiting, and we'll definitely talk about it a little bit more on a future episode, of course.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, folks, we'll switch gears from recruiting news to a little college football playoff news. So we just had the rankings on Tuesday, Chris. And this set of rankings did come with some controversy. I should say that a lot of people kind of, chiming in on. I was listening to the panel on that Tuesday, or this past Tuesday, that was talking about this week's CFP rankings, Chris, and Booger McFarland and Joey Galloway and company. All those guys were just, really sitting down and having a conversation on who is the best, who deserves to be in these top 12 spots. And I mean, this is kind of one of the dialogues that I've been waiting for, Chris, because once you created a 12-team playoff, it was going to become scrutiny over a few teams out there that haven't really played anyone. We talked about people like Indiana, people in the group of five, whatever. That these things were going to become a discussion, but it seems like out of all of the committees that we've had the last several years, Chris, this one has created some of the most controversy, I'd say, this season. So, and just in general, in the history of the college football playoff since we've had it. So, what are your thoughts about this week's CFP rankings, Chris? And I guess I'll just go ahead and name off the 12. I'll start from 12. So 12 Boise State, 11 Tennessee, 10 Georgia, 9 Ole Miss, 8 Miami, 7 is Alabama, 6 Notre Dame, number 5 Indiana, got a big game this week against Ohio State, 4 Penn State, 3 Texas, 2 Ohio State, and Oregon is still number 1 as well. So, Chris, what are your thoughts about this week's CFP rankings and just kind of the dialogue that you're getting from a lot of people around the country in terms of who should, trump who in terms of this ranking?
Yeah, I really don't know what the committee kind of has going on. I mean, I know Texas is 9-1, but we could go resume for resume, and you can make a case that
they beat
Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, teams with 2 losses truly have a better case to be higher than ranked than Texas. If we're going off blind resumes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Indiana's undefeated, but we're really going to learn more about them this weekend. But they haven't played anybody.
No, they haven't.
We don't know how good Indiana is. And SMU can't get no love. We can't get SMU in the top 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at their resume compared to Miami, and their loss was to a team that's still ranked in the top 25, ranked top 14, and is projected to win the Big 12. And Georgia Tech is who beat Miami. There's a lot of different things kind of going on at play here, and it feels like I don't know what consistency we're going to get when it comes to how these teams will be ranked and how it'll play out. But I think we're going to have to really be on it with the committee because there's a lot of inconsistencies going on here.
No, you're right, Chris. Just a lot of inconsistency for sure right now. So, I mean, some things we understand will get figured out. Like the whole Colorado thing. That will get figured out. Colorado, wins out, potentially wins a Big 12 championship. They're in. And so, those little things I think are things where I can understand why teams like them are placed where they're at. But some other teams, man, like I can't really tell you why SMU is getting snubbed right now. At 13. Yeah. It's just little things like that. Why is Missouri still ranked? And I know I know a team like Missouri isn't, a playoff team at this point, but I feel like not just the top 12 is important, the whole 25 is important, and it is going to fluctuate within these last 2 to 3 games that we're going to have. You still got conference championships that will be decided. So yeah, it's a mess right now. So and I don't know how they're going to structure this whole thing, this whole format. By the time it gets to the final ranking set for the playoffs, Chris, but I am interested through the whole hoopla of all of this and seeing how they figure this out, because they're gonna have to figure it out one way or another.
Yeah, cool. I will be tuned in too to see how this all plays out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens. But so far that is your top 12 teams in the CFP for this week. So yeah, partner. So we'll see what happens coming up this week. Got some big games. You ready to delve deep into week 13 of college football?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's do it. So first game that we got on the slate, Chris, Indiana heading to Columbus, Ohio to take on the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. Indiana's at 5. This is going to be a big game, Chris. Coach Cignetti, Ryan Day, something's got to give, right? Is Indiana a serious football team? Are they a contender that the Buckeyes should be worried about? Or, is the Buckeyes going to do what the Buckeyes do at this point of the season and, try to dominate and bully their way to a potential Big Ten championship at this point? So right now, Chris, Ohio State is a 11.5 favorite with Vegas, and ESPN's matchup predictor has Ohio State at 73.5% in their predictor scale. So what are your thoughts leading into this game? Because people have talked about Indiana's defense. I mean, this will be my first full week of analyzing Indiana and seeing what they can do on the field. I heard about their defense, really, really good. Can they slow down this Ohio State offense that's started to look a little more sharper under Will Howard and company? What are your thoughts leading into Saturday?
Yeah, so I think Indiana, as wild as it sounds, for them to win this game, they do need it to become a shootout. And you would think with Ohio State's talent, that would favor them. But Indiana, I'm pretty sure, with Warwick at QB, they feel like they got the edge at the quarterback position. They feel really good about their guy compared to Will Howard, who is a good QB. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think people are really expecting Will Howard to go out here and win you ball games. But Indiana thinks Warwick can do so. But I don't. That's what I want to see. The matchup to me is Indiana's offense against Ohio State's defense. Mm-hmm. Can Indiana put points on the board and put the pressure on Ohio State's offense, who we've seen at times sputter and have their struggles this season? Conventional wisdom tells me Ohio State does what they do. They're the more talented team. They're loaded with better players. They've been here before. They don't lose to Indiana's of the world unless your name is Michigan or a team in the college football playoff. Ohio State beats you. They normally beat you. So we'll see if it's another day in the office for the Buckeyes. I think it will be. I think it will be. I think Ohio State, their defense really cranks up the pressure, and this will be a defense that Indiana hasn't seen at all this season, and it'll really kind of jolt them and shock them. And it might take the second half before Indiana can really get things going against this group. And I think if you give Ohio State a half of locking up on defense, they can find the points on offense and create enough of separation to where it's tough for Indiana to make it a game. So the first half will tell it all. If Indiana's struggling offensively, Ohio State's going to run away with this game. But if they're hanging tough in the first half, they have a guy with work who can make plays. And it's not impossible for Indiana to figure out a way of winning this game. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. But I don't want to rule out the possibility of this actually being a game, Kory.
Yeah, no, you're right. We can't forget about Curtis Rourke and what he's done with this Hoosiers team this year, Chris. I mean, over 2,400 yards passing for the season, 21 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. When they need him to be consistent, this is what he's done all season. So he's definitely an athlete that Ohio State has to worry about this week. And if Ohio State will have a hard time trying to take down Rourke, I'm looking at this game probably being a little bit more interesting than maybe Vegas has it right now. But no, you're absolutely right. If Ohio State can just slow down Rourke and this Hoosiers offense, I mean, Curt Cignetti, he's had a heck of a season getting these guys in positions to
Sure.
to be successful offensively. So if Ohio State can do it, I think it'll be a good day for the Buckeyes. But I think these scenarios or these questions really make for an interesting Saturday with this game. So it's an early kickoff. So it's gonna kick off our Saturday. So it's gonna be interesting to see which team actually comes out on top in the end.
Yeah, no, it will be. And you mentioned Cignetti. He's been dialing it up on offense. Like,
He been
quiet as kept. Indiana's offense really has been prolific this season. Like they haven't. We can, and I do question the schedule that they've had. Granted, it's not their fault that the Big Ten has been down and they're playing the guys that they played, but the teams that they're playing, they are beating them handedly for the most part. Yeah, a close game against Michigan, but otherwise, you're putting it on everybody else. And that's the least you can do with the soft schedule. So in that respect, that's what gives me faith that this can be a game. It's not like it's like a little a miracle season. They're just always pulling out wins out their butt. Like they really have been beating teams handedly. So I will give Indiana that respect. But you just feel like Ohio State, honestly, is like probably the best roster down the board in college football. You would think they would show up in this game and do what needs to be done and get a statement victory and in a sense embarrass Indiana and kind of put them all the Indiana hype on hush mode. This just feels like a game that an Ohio State team, a blue blood, a prestigious program as such, would do something like that. Not to make fun of our fellow Bulldogs, but it's kind of similar to when Mississippi State will march into town. Remember the 2014 season, Mississippi State marches into Alabama, and Alabama does what they always do. And they put it on state in that game and got a win. It feels like a situation similar to that.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, man. I still just remember that game. Oh my gosh. I just see Amari Cooper just running 9 routes on us all day. It was a terrible evening for me, Chris. It was a terrible evening. Oh man, but no, you're right. You're definitely right. It does kind of feel like one of those games out there, that big of a magnitude. So, yeah, this game is really going to make or break Indiana's season, I think, because a lot of people are already kind of writing them off because they're asking the question on who have you beaten all season. This is the opportunity for them to show their dominance so far this season. If they can take down the Ohio State team that's starting to become red hot right now, Chris, that definitely does change things in terms of the playoff race. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I can't wait to watch this game. It's going to be interesting. I get a chance to really delve in and watch Indiana play and see a lot of these athletes out there. And I want to see who comes out of this game with a victory in the end. But yeah, man, should be a good one.
Definitely should. So I'm a roll with the Buckeyes. I'm gonna roll with conventional wisdom, and let the Buckeyes get a sound victory. We'll say 38-17, Ohio State.
Okay, I was gonna say 35-17.
But yeah, we see eye to eye on this, so we'll see what happens. But that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah. I think we're on the same wavelength in terms of this game. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Can't wait. Should be a fun one, indeed. And we get to wake up first game of the day, Chris. And we'll get a chance to delve deep and inspect this game and see who comes out with the victory.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But anything else, Chris, you like to add about this game before we move on to our next game?
No, we can keep it rolling.
All right. Nice. Well, all right, Chris. We're now about to head into the SEC. We got an interesting ball game when it comes down to the college football playoff race. So last week, we saw the Florida Gators take down a ranked LSU team in Gainesville. And now the Florida Gators are back again, Chris, this week in a home game. And they're hosting number 9 Ole Miss. The Rebels are coming to town. What do you think about this game heading into Saturday? Who do you think potentially has the upper hand over who? Because it feels like Florida's starting to heat up. Right now, Vegas has Ole Miss as a 10-point favorite. And ESPN also has the Rebels at 78.1% in their matchup predictor. What are your thoughts about Florida heading into this game? Do you think they got an opportunity to kind of shock the nation? Or do you think it's just going to be a lot of Jackson Dart this week? What are your thoughts?
Look, man, it's an interesting game. This Florida team, I know they are 5-5, but as we mentioned before the season, they played the toughest schedule in the nation. Mm-hmm. Schedule's been rigorous.
Yeah, been pretty rough.
It's been rough. It's continuing to stay rough playing Ole Miss, a playoff contender. So this is a very talented group. Mm-hmm. They did what they had to do and were very, opportunistic against LSU. LSU, if you watched that game and you saw how the offense was moving, and you would have thought that LSU would have won by 10, but no, they made mistakes, didn't come up big on third downs, and Florida made the plays that needed to be made, and Florida found a way to win that game. But Ole Miss is not LSU, even though LSU did beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that really can get the explosive plays on offense. Trey Harris, the star stud wide receiver, Sunday guy, as we coin on this show. He's a Sunday guy. He's somebody that you'll be watching play in the NFL. He's a first round draft pick certified. Go ahead and stamp it. Arguably the best receiver in the nation, and if he was healthy this year, he probably would be your Biletnikoff winner. He's just that good. He's looking to be back in this game, and if he's back, he could be the difference, because this can very well be a close game, Kory. Swamp is no easy place to play at. Ole Miss is, even though we like this Ole Miss team talent-wise, it's still hard to shake off the fact that they're Ole Miss and they will mess around and lose games that they have no business losing. We've seen it this season now happen once already.
We've seen it in history. I'm still shocked at Ole Miss in 2016 losing that Memphis game.
Yes.
I don't care, Ole Miss fans. That happened.
They do this year in and year out. You'll find a way to lose a game you have no business.
It's a tradition.
A tradition like none other. Hopefully you already got that out the way with the Kentucky loss, but Florida won't be an easy win. But I think having Trey Harris back truly will be the difference. He's somebody, that is just a bomb play waiting to happen, a consistent chain mover, and he just adds another element to this offense. And it looks like Jackson Dart's really found his groove as of late. And I think we're finally going to see Ole Miss continue not only to feed Trey Harris, but the whole offense is in general, the whole passing attack. We'll see guys like a Juice Wells continue to get the ball like he did last week. We'll continue to see just all the weapons that they have be utilized. And I think Ole Miss, the spread is 10 points. They might just hit that on the head. I don't see Florida getting blown out. I really do see like a Ole Miss 10-point victory being the case in this game, like a 34-24, 31-21 kind of game. But it can go multiple ways. It's a funky season, Kory. I will tell you this: I want no business with this game in Bolton spreads.
No, I definitely agree with you. Stay away from this game as far as away as you can. But no, I think that's one of the reasons, Chris, why Vegas has Ole Miss as a 10-point favorite, because I think they're even thinking like Florida's kind of peaking right now at an opportune time. I don't think it's wise to like play around in the swamp on a Saturday. So and it's a Saturday morning. You gotta wake up early in the morning to take on this Florida Gators team that's really scrappy right now. Good luck. So I think obviously Ole Miss has the playmakers to come out of this game with a victory. I am pulling for them to win this game just because I think they have so many good playmakers that obviously they can't ruin this game. But we'll see. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. This is going to be a game that I think a lot of the Ole Miss players are just going to have to keep their heads in and be focused, because this is a Florida team, like I said, is peaking at the right time. And when you're dealing with those teams that are definitely like elevating their game, especially throughout the end of the season, that definitely puts your antennas up a little bit and causes a little level of concern and more diligent work to be made to make sure that you don't drop a game like this. So Ole Miss is sitting real nice right now in the rankings at number 9. They want to keep going up in the rankings, and make sure that they keep that college football playoff spot in play. So So we'll see what happens this Saturday, Chris. But it should be a fun one indeed.
Oh, yeah, it definitely will be. And I will be tuned in. This is, man, that 11 a.m. slate is looking really good this weekend. We got Ohio State, Indiana, Ole Miss, Florida. Hey, we got some good games here to get the day kicked off.
Yeah, look, hey, I'm definitely gonna be flipping the screens all day. So yeah, man. No shame with me. I'm just gonna be chilling out watching some good college football during the day. So it should be a fun one.
Oh, and it will be. It
Yes, sir.
definitely will be. One of these games will live up to the billing.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think so. So yeah. So what's your score on this? What are you putting as your score at the end?
Going 34-24 Ole Miss. Yeah, 34-24 Ole Miss. I think they find they play a good game. Florida plays a good game. DJ Lagway is that man. He's healthy. And we'll see who gets the dub. But I feel like it's going to be the Ole Miss that comes away with the win.
Okay. Okay. Nice. I'm going to say Ole Miss 24, Florida 17. I think
Okay.
this is going to be a slug out fest. I think we're looking at two good defenses that are going to go
Mhm.
toe to toe with each other. I think this is going to be one of those lower scoring Ole Miss games, but I think they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I can see that, man. I promise you I can. What's going to be interesting is the battle of the secondaries.
Hmm. Yeah.
Can Florida secondary slow down the Ole Miss team that can make the big plays happen?
Hmm.
So we will see.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see indeed. But yeah, man, should be a fun one. Can't wait. And that's going to be 11 a.m. game on ABC. So yeah. But anything else, Chris, you like to add about this game before we move on to our next game?
No, sir.
All right. Sounds good. Well, now, Chris, we're about to head to Yankee Stadium. That's right, folks. We got number 6 Notre Dame taking on number 19 Army in a game in Yankee Stadium this weekend. This is a big game for Notre Dame, Chris, and for Army, because Army's still trying to potentially get that Group of 5 spot in the playoffs. And Notre Dame, they're really just trying to get all the wins that they can. Of course, as an independent in the league. So, what are your thoughts about this game, Chris, heading into Saturday? Because right now, Notre Dame, they've been holding on. Riley Leonard and company, they've been holding on this season, making sure, they don't drop another game. Again, they already got their one, I can't even call it clunker, because usually clunkers are games that you win. But, you got your one upset loss against Northern Illinois earlier in the year. But what are your thoughts heading into this game this weekend? You got Riley Leonard taking on Bryson Daly, who, in his own right for Army, he's been playing some really good football.
Yes. And look, Army's a sneaky team. I know that Notre Dame has played much better football as of late. They've looked like a team that's been taking care of business. They've been able to put points on the board. But I'm just not sold. When you see a team lose to Northern Illinois earlier in the season, Kory, it's hard to get that memory out your head, and
I still can't get it out of my head.
and the fact that they're ranked number 6 too after having a loss like that is something quite interesting. But I think there's some things that Army presents that can be a real challenge for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be a close game. I know it's crazy. I know we're talking about Army people, but this is a very sound football team. Don't expect a blowout in this one. I really don't think it's going to be one of those games. I think this could be the sneaky game of the weekend, Kory.
It really could. It really could. Look, Notre Dame better not underestimate the running attack by Bryson Daly and his Army squad. Like, when they get after you, they get after you. They will do anything and everything to confuse your defense. So, and just Bryson Daly is just a heck of an athlete out there. Like, he's just making people pay week in and week out. So, yeah, man, this is something that Notre Dame is going to have to take very seriously because, you lose this game, you're out. But hey, if you're Army, I'm starting to say maybe you should give that spot, that 12th spot to Army at this point because, man, you beat a number 6 team in the nation. Yeah, that's definitely worth trumping a team like Boise State. Now, who has played some really good football, but man, they don't have a win like that.
No, the resume wouldn't hold up. So I agree. You would have to give it to Army. Yeah. So, boy, we're going to see how this plays out. I just, NIU was a team that ran the ball very well.
Mm-hmm.
Similar problems that are presented in this game. So that's the holdup. And I know Riley Leonard he's a playmaker, but he's also, when he's not on it, Riley Leonard is very bad.
Yeah.
It feels almost good Bo, bad Bo-ish. We not to beat up Ole Miss fans, but they, that was the thing. Yeah, good Bo and bad Bo. That's really what they called it. And it feels like that with Riley Leonard. He's got good Riley and bad Riley because he went halfway through the season without throwing passing touchdowns. Like, he was just inept with the passing game this year.
Yeah.
And, so I'm gonna pick Notre Dame to win. I think it's gonna be a close one. I think Notre Dame wins this bad boy by 3 points. It's 27-24. This is gonna be gutsy.
Wow. That means that Notre Dame doesn't cover, Chris, because Vegas has Notre Dame as a 17-point favorite in this game.
They do.
That is crazy right now. That you're saying it, but I definitely understand where you're coming from because of what we've seen on the field from Notre Dame. Like, yeah, when you mentioned it, Chris, about the Northern Illinois game, I mean, Northern Illinois was they were going up and down the field on them, with their rushing attack. So, like I said, they can't take Bryson Daly lightly in this game because Arm is very efficient with their running attack, and they'll hurt you. So, I'm going to be with you on that one, Chris. It's kind of up in the air, but if I had to flip a coin, I'd say Notre Dame would win, but not by much.
I mean, yeah, it could very well be a 3-point, 6-point victory. It could be a game that's close throughout, and then Notre Dame gets a touchdown that makes it a 10-point win instead of a 3-point win late in the game, or a 13-point win instead of a 6-point win. But I think Notre Dame is. I mean, I think Army's going to be just right there in the mix and make this interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's going to be a game. I'm excited to see how this plays out. So Notre Dame, come ready to stop the run. If Notre Dame loses the time of possession battle significantly, like if it's 38 minutes to 22 for Army, or 42 to 40 to let's see, so 15, yeah. So something huge like that, like significant, like a 38 to 22, a 40 to 20 in that kind of range, 42-18 is Army all day.
Yeah.
That's that. The Army's going to play to keep them off the field, to control this game, and if they can do so, they have a great chance of winning. A great chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. And that should be very concerning if you're Notre Dame. That time of possession. Army's definitely going to do that, as what they've done to people all season. They want to control the clock. Do you have it in you to do the same thing that they're going to potentially do to you?
When you learn from your mistakes in NIU and play disciplined run defense, play sound football, because if you're not disciplined in this game, Army will take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They will test your discipline.
Yeah.
If you get penalties, Army will take advantage of you committing penalties. This is not the game that you want to have 8+ penalties in. 10 penalties, 12 penalties. It's a recipe for disaster. This isn't a game you want to have be down in a turnover differential by 2 turnovers. There's all those things when it comes to being a well-coached team, and people have questioned just how well coached are Marcus Freeman teams, because they continue to lose games where they're sound favorites during his tenure. Don't let this be the one where that rears its ugly head. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on in this one.
Yeah.
Because if those things happen, Kory, Army's winning.
Yeah. They are. So, they want to control the time of possession. And if you start making mistakes, they're going to capitalize off of. Next thing you know, you're looking up that scoreboard. It's like third quarter, and you're down by like 10 points. and guess who got the ball? It's not you. It's not you. It's still.
and that's important to talk about, because we talked about Riley Leonard and his struggles. Imagine keeping a guy off the field for 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and he hasn't found his rhythm yet.
Mm-hmm. That's tough.
Look, man, it's real tough. And if Riley is going through spurts where he's off the field for that long and still hasn't been able to get things rolling on offense, it could be a bad night for Notre Dame. So this is of all the games, this is the one I have my radar up for a possible upset. I would say the most. It's right there with Florida and Ole Miss. This is a real upset alert game.
Yeah. So look, man, hey, Coach Freeman, he better be drawing up the biggest game plan of this week, because if you can get through this game, I think Notre Dame will be fine. Let me see who their last game is. At USC. Oh man, this is it. This is it, Chris. You gotta win this game. So
you do.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Chris. I can't wait to watch this game.
I will say this real quick before we move on. If Notre Dame loses this game, Marcus Freeman is on the hot seat.
Yeah,
he's not getting fired. But if you find a way to mess up making the playoff in the 12-team playoff this year, when your schedule turned out being as soft as it was, with Florida State being a disappointment, USC has been a disappointment. They are. these teams that you expected to be really tough games had not been that. If you find a way to miss out on the playoffs because you lost to NIU and Army, he is on the hottest seat next season.
he might as well sit on the stove. That's on.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, because that tush is gonna be on fire. Oh man,
he ain't gonna have no butt hairs left after he gets done with that hot seat.
Oh man, scorched. Oh man, no, you're right, Chris. So, yeah, we'll see what Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish do this week. But yeah, Notre Dame Army should be a fun one in Yankees Stadium this coming Saturday. So yeah, Chris. Anything else you like to add before we move on to our last spotlighted game for the week?
No, sir.
All right. So now, Chris, we're going to move back to the SEC, and we're going to go down to Austin, Texas, where number 3 Texas, the Longhorns, will host Kentucky this week. 2:30 p.m. game on the SEC on ABC. So, big game for Texas, Chris, to continue winning, to figure out some things. I mean, they beat Arkansas last week, but it wasn't the win that a lot of people down in Austin really wanted, Chris. So let's look at what Vegas has this game at. So they have Texas winning the game. They have them as a 20.5 point favorite. The ESPN matchup predictor has Texas at 94.7%. So the models are looking very much in favor for Texas to win this ball game. But let's delve just a little bit more deeper, Chris. Quinn Ewers is back. He looks 100%. But, a lot of people are still kind of looking at him and his play and just Texas in general, especially after the Arkansas game, and saying like, hey, is it just me or this team isn't looking like the team that we saw in the first half of the season? They're not looking dominant anymore. You don't see that fire in their eyes anymore, and that's caused a lot of concern with the people in Austin. What are your thoughts, Chris, just with what Texas needs to do in order to win this game? Because, we can say what we can say about Kentucky all season. They've definitely took multiple steps back. Granted, they won a game that maybe a lot of people say they shouldn't have won against Ole Miss. But, this is a Kentucky team that they're unpredictable at this point. You never know. And if you're Texas, you shouldn't be taking Kentucky lightly, especially how the way you've kind of been, playing a little bit these last couple weeks. You need to really show up. So, especially before you play A&M next week. So, what are your thoughts about this game, Chris, and what are you looking to see?
I mean, they're very much similar to everything you just laid out. Mm-hmm. I'm well documented with the questions that I have with Quinn Ewers, that quarterback for this team. I want the best for him, but he hasn't shown to be the guy that we expected Quinn Ewers to be this year.
Yeah,
he had his moments. I mean, it's respectfully, you can look very good against a Florida defense that's extremely tired because they can't sustain drives with the preferred walk-on as their starting quarterback because DJ Lagway was out. Mm-hmm. They didn't go up against DJ Lagway. They went up against the backup of the backup. Respectfully. So I think this will be a big game to see. We're going to learn a lot about Texas. I know it doesn't seem like what are we going to learn about Texas this late in the season against Kentucky? Kentucky's not all that, but that's what makes this game so interesting.
Yeah,
Kentucky is a sneaky team, a very well-coached team, especially defensively, with Brad White as their defensive coordinator and what he brings to the table. he can take advantage of a Quinn Ewers who's been struggling. He can dial some stuff up, and this could be an ugly game. It could be an ugly win for Texas. But I'm thinking, you want to believe that Texas figures things out this week, and so that's why I say like we're going to learn. Is Texas that elite team? Because if they do figure it out, that says a lot about this team and how they've been struggling for them to get right in this game and maybe turn a corner. Like them beating Kentucky sound and handedly is more impressive despite Florida, to me being a better team. But that wasn't the same. That wasn't the Florida team that we saw. That game isn't the team that was on the field against LSU. But if they struggle in this one, I think you really got to sound the alarm for the concerns heading into the A&M game. You want some answers this weekend before you play A&M. Because that's going to be a huge game. I know you only have one loss, and you're very happy about this team's record, but it's going to be real scary if you don't turn up and win this one, because A&M, you're going to Kyle Field, that's going to be a different monster.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chris. Like this, yeah, that's a whole different beast. Next week, that's a game that a lot of these guys haven't seen or witnessed, haven't even played before, in their lives. So the magnitude of that game, it should be stated to them, but for a lot of the fans, we already know what it is. at the end of the day. So, this is a big get right game for Texas. This is a big game for them to showcase that they're still in this thing, Chris. If they go out there and they start, laying the egg against Kentucky, so there's gonna be some people out there that's legitimately gonna say you can call this a wrap. Are you gonna take that team out there and win all 4 quarters against A&M? I mean,
right.
We can say what we want to say, about A&M. I mean, they lost that heartbreaking game at South Carolina, but South Carolina's a really good team. Now, Kentucky isn't. They're a very inconsistent team with still good talent, but inconsistent nonetheless. So, this is going to be a big game for Quinn Ewers to show up, to show out. The whole offense in general. Sark's really going to have to get these guys to focus and really play together in these last 2 games. But in terms of this game, I wouldn't be taking the foot off the gas pedal. Not once.
No. You can't afford to. You need to run it up. You need Quinn to find his rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So that means Quinn throwing those for 300, 400 yards this game, 500 yards. By all means, let him be locked in and do his thing. If he's playing that well, I wonder if he will be.
I wonder.
Kentucky's a desperate team. They find ways to just play good football when you least expect it. And when you expect them to play well, they play badly. Yeah. You can't predict this team. Which is why I think this can very well be a game. And Texas probably wins by 2 touchdowns instead of 4. I think it could be one of those games.
Yeah. I definitely think so too. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, which Texas are we going to get, Chris? Are we going to get that dominant team that we saw at the beginning of the season? Or we're just going to see that team, that kind of came out against Arkansas, and you had to go to Nashville and, kind of claw and scratch, yourselves with a win. So, it's it's going to be interesting to see what happens come Saturday. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how they respond, because a lot of the fans are starting to get restless now, and and it's even coming down to people like Sark. Like Sark's being questioned about things like, hey, shouldn't you had kept Arch Manning in that Georgia game, or shouldn't not have taken him out at all and stuff, and who is the guy? Like we're in November, Chris. We're still asking these questions.
Yeah.
Sark still has the answer to these folks about the decisions that he had to make at the quarterback position. So it kind of really makes you think, like, how locked in has this team been? Is the noise getting to them?
Hey, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great question. So I think this is, I'm more begrudgingly, I just have a feeling. I'm going to lean in on Quinn in Texas, turning it up. You're at home.
Mm-hmm.
And you cover the spread. I'm going to say Texas wins big.
Okay.
Part of me's like, how Kentucky is, but I think, and things have been tough in Lexington this year. I know they just beat Kent State, but that ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Texas needs to dominate. They need to put on their best foot forward this week and make a statement with this game.
Yeah. Got to.
I'm gonna say Texas wins big, 42-10.
Okay. Nice. I'm going to go with Texas 45, Kentucky 17. So not that far off from what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. It's kind of like you mentioned, good Bo, bad Bo, Chris. Gonna get good Queen, bad Queen. I think that's kind of where we at now. So yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting one for sure down there in Austin. So DKR should be rocking, and hopefully not in the negative way by the end of the game. Oh boy, but yeah, Chris, anything else you would like to add to this game before we move on to Bolton's bets?
No, sir.
All right. Well, Chris, I think it's about that time. We got Bolton's bets, folks. You know what it is. It's the time where Chris lays out his top games of the week. You want to hit the parlay for the week? Go ahead and do it. You want to make a little extra money? Hey, this is the time to do so. We're heading to November. Got some good games coming up. So, yeah, go out there and place your bets the right way. So, Chris, laying the floor to you, good sir. Go ahead and let us know, what are some of your top games for the week in Bolton's bets?
Sir, we're going to head on over to Miami, Florida, where a team that, we know how Miami is. This is a team that can be very up and down. They like to play around. Well, I'm going to tell y'all right now, they can't play around this weekend. Why? Not because of their opponent, but because of them fresh off an L to Georgia Tech a couple weeks ago. The team just coming off a bye week. And they need to get right. Mm-hmm. And what more of a get right game can you have than playing Wake Forest at home? Wake Forest, if you don't know people, a team that's similar in being prolific on offense, like Ole Miss, put a beat down on Wake Forest earlier this season, and I expect Cam Ward in this squad to not let off the gas and to put a beat down on Wake Forest themselves, because coaches love. they love nothing more than to have a whole week after an L to get on your case. And you had the bye week in between too. It has not been fun practicing football at the University of Miami these last couple of weeks, Kory.
Oh no, they've probably been they've been in the ringer all week, of course.
They've been catching it, and then you know who else who has to catch it because they've been catching it all week from the coaches. Well, now Wake Forest has to catch it. So we're going to take Miami to cover. All right, the spread in this ball game is 24 points. Expect Miami to win by 40. It ain't going to be close. So that's the first one we're taking. Mm-hmm. And then going to keep things rolling. Going back to a team that we have seen have a lot of success against lesser opponents. That's Tennessee.
Yeah.
You're like, Chris, the spread is 40.5 points for Tennessee. I know. I've seen Nico be amazing against teams that aren't that good. Mm-hmm. And I know he struggled in SEC play. But this is a get-right game. Nico's going to throw for about 300, look amazing, and Tennessee will be up by 35 points at halftime. I think the Vols cover. I know some huge lines can be scary. I think we can trust Tennessee to whoop up on lesser opponents. Give me the Vols to win that one by 48. And lastly, we heading out west. Tempe, Arizona, Kory. Number 14, BYU. At number 21, Arizona State.
This is a fun one.
This really is a fun one. Arizona State, 3-point favorites in this game. And Kory, I think, you know the saying, don't let one loss become two. Mm-hmm. I think this becomes the second loss for BYU. I think Arizona State is favored by 3 points for a reason. It tells you if this game was on a neutral field, the line would be even. They have the advantage because they are at home. I think Arizona State, led by Scatterbo at running back, is the team that's really good. And it's a sneaky team. Okay? They have 2 losses this year, but they are sneaky. It can end up putting themselves right there in the mix to win the Big 12 with the win in this game. They smell it. They need it. And I think they get it. Give me Arizona State to cover and beat BYU, a team that is sick after their heartbreaking loss last week. A team that has found ways to win all season. I think this being punched in the gut and experiencing that loss, to that first loss of the year, mm-hmm. I'm not sure if BYU is built for losing that kind of a game. And so I think Arizona State takes advantage. I see some holes that Arizona State can take advantage of in BYU. I'm going to go with BYU to get the dub.
Wow.
I mean, Arizona State to get the dub against BYU.
Wow. Hey, look, if that happens, Chris, you do know what that creates. That gives Arizona State the advantage mm-hmm. in the Big 12 playoff championship race. Mm-hmm. I mean, so that's going to be big. A Colorado Arizona State conference championship game. Hey.
I know. I will say this though: this isn't a Bolton's bet special, but this is a Lee Corso special. Not so fast, my friend. Let's not crown Colorado just yet, because you know who they play this weekend too, right?
Yes. They play Kansas Jayhawks.
I'm not calling the upset. People, this game will be a whole lot closer than what you think. This is not going to be easy by any means. Colorado's going to be in for one. This is going to be tough. They are 3-point favorites for a reason. They add Kansas too? real upset alert right here. Upset alert. This is the game. Colorado season is on the line with this game. This will be the toughest matchup. Might even be tougher than the Big 12 championship game. This game will be a hell game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know, Devin Neal, he's been playing out of his mind all season. You know, despite that winning record right now. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting game for Colorado. You know, if they're trying to make it into the playoffs, it starts with games like this. They got to take care of their business. So, hey, this Kansas team, they've shocked the world. They've beaten some ranked teams before, so this wouldn't be the first time. If they can get the job done here, this wouldn't be their first rodeo.
Win at all. And, you know, one more game. I just want to put this on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri at Mississippi State. Number 23, Missouri at Mississippi State. Missouri 7.5-point favorites. And you're like, Mississippi State's been really bad this year. Missouri's ranked 23rd. They're only 7.5-point favorites. Exactly. It tells you all you need to know about this game. Look, Mizzou coming off playing, honestly, their best game of the year, and it was in a losing effort to South Carolina. This is a team that could be ready to fold. And Mississippi State is a team that's hungry for a win. And they're bought in. This won't be an easy game, man. I think State has a great chance of pulling off the upset, Kory. This will be one to just keep your eyes on. We'll be watching just because we love our Bulldogs, but keep an eye on this one. This mess around, people love drink. Hey, you lose this game, it's gonna have some people trying to figure out. Hold on, what we doing? They gonna want to put him in the hot seat because you ain't. We already said it. You ain't supposed to lose to Mississippi State.
No, you're not. and a loss against the Bulldogs will definitely, you know, raise some eyebrows in Columbia, Missouri, Chris. So, yeah, I wouldn't be taking these Bulldogs lightly at all. They got 2 games left. You're one of them. Next week is Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think these last 2 games of the season, you know, you're not going to a bowl game. You're just looking to just tear this whole thing up. You're looking for havoc.
You are, and Mississippi State has the pieces offensively to wreak havoc. You know, they can make some plays, and I just don't be surprised if the Bulldogs get the upset win. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't be surprised, people. 7.5-point spread for Missouri for a reason. State is a live dog. Pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So yeah, man. Yeah, it's should be some great games coming up. I appreciate you always, my brother, giving off your picks each week for people to go out there to, you know, make a little bit of extra cash out there. So yeah, man, always appreciate it. But yeah, man, it's a great week. Week 13. This look, once we hit November, Chris, we've talked about it all season. You know, this is the point in the season where you know, stars are born and teams, the real teams, really come out to play good football. You know, at this point of the season. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens this week. And yeah, we'll definitely be talking about it on our show on Monday for sure. So, but yeah, man,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But yeah, Chris, before we head out of here today, go ahead and do some outros. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so you can find your boy on Twitter at Chris_Bolton_12, and on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Let me.
All right. Yes, sir. And yeah, folks, you can find me on X as well at Listen to KSW. All one handle. I'm on there talking college football and professional wrestling, whole nine. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you all listening to the show. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It definitely helps us out, helps us know what we're doing and how we can improve the show for the future for you all. So as always, we appreciate you guys' support. But until next time, I'm Kory Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace.